It's okay if you're late, but then you have to make a right decision. So once you realize you're late and you're not going to be able to stop the man from turning, you don't just keep huffing it forward. You have to take a step back and leave the guy in front of you. Don't even give him the opportunity to run past you. He can turn, allow him to turn, but leave him in front of you. When you do that, the rest of the team knows the press is over, and you'll buy them time to get back into their shape. We need a winger that's got some tricks up his sleeve. We need a winger that can scare the pants off of opponents. We're Manchester United. We're supposed to have some of the best wingers, and we don't. We just don't. I thought Antony was going to be that for us 2 years ago when we brought Antony. And then I thought Sancho was going to be that for us. So we've been trying to get that son of a bitch winger, but it hasn't worked out. It's not PSR. If you think it's PSR FFP, you're way off. You are way off. We have enough room in PSR and FFP to have done 2 more signings, which is what I think we needed. I want to build the squad at a high standard, like Lenny Euro. That's a high standard buy. I want to make buys that are at a high standard. All the academy kids we bought, Chibo Obi Martin, Sekou Kone, these are high standard buys. Samuel Losale, high standard buys, great buys, but they're not ready for the first team. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode. I'm trying my best to be high energy and give you guys a good experience with this video, but I am recording this literally 20 minutes after the Liverpool and Manchester United game just ended, and I am emotionally a wreck right now, and I'm exhausted, but I'm going to do my best because I wanted to record this video for you because I might be busy tomorrow and might not be able to get that video done. So I wanted to do it now, so this is the first time you guys are seeing raw emotion out of me, but again, I'm going to try to keep it in check and try to remain logical and try to take the emotion out of it. But I may not be able to help myself, so you're going to excuse me and just come along with this ride with me and see if what I'm saying makes sense. The point that I want to get to by the end of this video is who is to blame for this loss and any other loss we may get stepping forward into this season. We are going to get there, but first I want to do like a 5-minute breakdown of what I saw tactically in this game, where we went wrong, and things that I'm hearing and reading about since even halftime of the game that I don't completely agree with. The first thing I want to talk about is our midfield two, Manu, Casemiro. So we have this 4-2-2-2 structure right now that we're trying to build upon. Anybody who watches my videos, I did say a little bit about what I do for a living, and this kind of is a part of that, if you will. I watch games intensely. I try to judge players on their individual performances, and then very little bit I also look at the overall tactics of the team. That's not really my specialty and my expertise or whatever, but judging players' personal individual performances is kind of what I do for a living. So as a head coach myself, but not in soccer. Anyway, I don't want to talk about that. Let's get right back to it. So 4-2-2-2 is a structure we are pressing with and the structure we are playing with off when we're out of possession. And it's designed to kind of, when we're not pressing, that we sit back in a cone. Our 2 forwards are defending the 2 midfielders of the opposing team, forcing the ball down the sidelines, and then when the ball goes back, then we push forward. When the ball goes back, we push forward, but when we push forward, we actually are coming in from the side, angling our runs, hoping that their center backs will pass it up to the middle of the field where Casemiro and Manu are supposed to be right on their men, ready to either intercept the pass or not allow their man to turn. The first mistake we made was actually by our darling Kobe Manu. I know we all love Manu. I love him too. I said in prior videos, I can't wait for him to develop and turn into the kind of midfielder that can receive the ball off the defense, turn, get past the initial press, and then open up the game in front of him. If he turns into that kind of player, he's going to be so valuable for us that we're going to win games pretty easily if he turns into like a De Jong type of player with the way he receives the ball, avoids the press, and gets the ball going forward. Because a lot of times our team gets stuck passing around the back line. It goes in, it goes back. It goes in, it goes back. There's nobody to turn, get past the press, and then open up play in front of them. That's what I'm hoping Manu develops into, matures into. I don't think it's unfair for me to think that he should be doing that now. I think it's going to need time, but hopefully by the end of the season, that's what he's evolved into. Now, Let's get back to where he makes some mistakes. I have noticed that he makes some mistakes sometimes when we're out of possession. He's not quick like with the press. He's not quick to realize where he should have been. When that press is initiated, when they're making those inward runs from the outside to start pressing the center backs, Manu has to step up quickly. He was late early on in the game when they scored a goal that was ruled offside. Gravenberch was receiving a ball. Manu was late, but he stepped up anyway, which Gravenberch easily turned away from him and had an open midfield to run in. And that goal was created through that bad decision by Manu. The point and the reason why it's a bad decision, it's okay to be late. It's okay if you're late, but then you have to make a right decision. So once you realize you're late and you're not going to be able to stop the man from turning, you don't just keep huffing it forward. You have to take a step back and leave the guy in front of you. Don't even give him the opportunity to run past you. He can turn. Allow him to turn, but leave him in front of you. When you do that, the rest of the team knows the press is over, and you'll buy them time to get back into their shape. Okay, you gotta buy. Once you're late and you messed up, you can't double down. You cannot double down. That's the first mistake that I noticed in the center of midfield. Why is this important, guys? Because this is where we always lose matches. We always lose matches by mistakes happening right in the heart of the field where you can't afford to be making mistakes. So stay with me because that Kobbie Mainoo mistake is bad. I don't care if it didn't result in a goal. The point is that we haven't cleaned it up yet. We haven't cleaned up that kind of error yet. Follow that up with Casemiro's 2 errors, one of them being this stupid pass he sends right up the middle of the field. It's okay if you send a stupid pass high and over to the corners of the field because then the other team it takes time for them to build up again. But when you make a stupid pass, if you're passing down the middle of the field, you better be 100% sure that ball is going to not get to the opponent. You can't just make that decision that quickly if you're Casemiro. Casemiro is not somebody who's got eyes behind the back of his head. He's not Bruno. He's not Odegaard. He's not Kevin De Bruyne. He shouldn't be making passes like that. He should be instructed not to make passes like that. But anyway, he makes that pass. It gets intercepted. We all know what happens next. A couple of plays later, he's too scared to make any pass. He ends up taking too many touches. They push him off the ball, and there goes goal number 2. So Cass screwed us there. Cass screwed us. The second one was because of lack of confidence and fear, which you would think for somebody who's won the Champions League so many times and has been on a lot of winning teams would have a better, stronger mentality than that. But he doesn't, because this has been adding up. This has been eating at his confidence for a long time. He was not good last season, and he knows it. And this has been adding up, and I think he needs to go to an easier league. But anyway, we're not going to be able to get rid of him. It's not like we didn't want to get rid of him. We're paying him too much, and I don't blame him for staying. But I do blame us for not getting Ugarte in earlier so he could have played this game. We're going to get to that. Let me just keep going here. Some of the other things I saw, the criticisms I saw against Erik ten Hag. Number one, if you're blaming Erik ten Hag for this, you're off. You're wrong. And I'm not even like this big Erik ten Hag backer. I just realized what's actually going on. Erik ten Hag's like the sacrificial lamb when it comes to who's actually to blame, and how keeping him was worked on so many fronts for INEOS. Keeping Erik ten Hag worked on so many fronts for INEOS. Now, am I saying that they're sabotaging Erik ten Hag? No. I don't think they're like willfully sabotaging him. I don't think that this is like premeditated or like pre-thought of like we're going to sabotage this manager. I think that they kept Erik ten Hag because it was a cheaper option. They didn't even have to give him a new contract. They just extended his current contract. Like they did the 1-year option. They didn't pay him anymore or anything like that. It was a cheaper option than hiring anybody else. But also they knew that their plans are what they are. Okay, let's get right into it. You know what? I do have to bring this up. Before I get right into it, I do have to bring up the fact that some of the things that I've seen Erik ten Hag be blamed for today is starting Rashford for Ahmad. But it wasn't like that. He started Garnacho for Ahmad, but then everybody else said that Garnacho should have been playing, so should have Ahmad. Well, the truth is Rashford was actually more productive today than Garnacho, even though the crowd in the stadium booed his substitutions and probably they wanted Rashford off. Rashford created 2 chances that Garnacho did not. Garnacho did not create anything today. He's brave. I love the kid, but he's a kid and he's got no bag of tricks. Not that Rashford does. But Rashford could have. Old Rashford had tricks. Old Rashford had the elastico. Old Rashford could spin a player. New Rashford, not so much. New Rashford is just like Garnacho, but older than Garnacho, which is head down, run. Try to sprint past a person. That's not good enough. We need a son of a bitch winger. Sorry for cursing, but we do. We need a winger that's got some tricks up his sleeve. We need a winger that can scare the pants off of opponents. We're Manchester United. We're supposed to have some of the best wingers, and we don't. We just don't. I thought Antony was going to be that for us 2 years ago when we brought Antony. And then I thought Sancho was going to be that for us. So we've been trying to get that son of a bitch winger, but it hasn't worked out. It hasn't worked out. And then when we got these new guys, I thought, okay, maybe we don't need a winger this season because they were talking about getting in Michael Olise. And I was one of the ones that said, I don't know if we need a Michael Olise. We need to fix this. Well, one of the things I said we need to fix was the defensive midfielder. Actually, that was kind of my priority. Center back wasn't my priority. Defensive midfielder was my priority. Center back was my second priority. We fixed the center back position, kind of. Meaning, we got in Euro. Obviously, he's injured, but he's one of my favorite players. That's why he's right there behind me. He's my favorite signing of this summer. Hence, he goes up on the wall. The other 2 spots are for the next 2 favorite signings. I'm going to pick one, and then you guys are going to vote for one. I've talked about it in previous videos. I'm not going to do it again right now. But just know, those 2 blank spots, I was actually going to put one up today if we would have won the game, because I've already picked who I want over there. But I'm not going to talk about it because I'm not going to sit here on this video and say, oh, by the way, after this video, get in the comments and vote for our 3rd favorite signing or whatever, because now's not the time. We'll do it next time or whatever. Now is not the time. I got these other things I want to talk about. There's nothing to celebrate. I don't want to talk about it. This is what I meant by maybe I shouldn't do the video today. Sorry. I'll try better to not be so angry, but this is how I get when we lose. Anyways, Rashford wasn't the issue. Garnacho didn't create much, but Garnacho's being Garnacho. I don't think he was it didn't surprise me the way he played. So I'm not sitting there going, Garnacho had a shocker. He's brave as hell, that kid. That's why I love him. I love his bravery. His heart is what I love. His desire is what I love. Now, he needs to work on getting a couple of more skills in the bag, so it's not just put your head down and run. And he needs to work on his decision-making. Like, if he doesn't have the room and space to perform a skill, then he needs to work on a partnership with Mazraoui so they can give and go and play together. Maybe Mazraoui can overlap a little more often and stuff of that nature. Now, you don't have to have skills to get it past a person, but you do have to have a good partnership with your fullback if you don't have the skills to get past the person, so that together you get past the last line. Anyway, I don't think Erik ten Hag made too many bad decisions when it comes to the starting lineup, because I don't think he had any choices. I don't think you could throw in a Toby Collier right from the beginning of that game. You just can't. The guy hasn't played a single minute of Premier League football, and you go, hey, let's have you starting against Liverpool. Actually, before halftime, I was thinking about, does he even hook Casemiro? Because do you throw Toby into this game, and if Toby makes a bad pass like Cass did, or 2 bad passes, or 2 bad plays like Casemiro did that result in 2 more goals, then Toby's whole career might be going down the drain. Because you would crush that kid's confidence. Imagine your first ever Premier League minutes against Liverpool and you cause 2 more goals and we lose 4-0. The kid was brave. He showed me something today that I didn't know. Toby showed me that he's got guts to get out and play, and he didn't make too many bad decisions. I actually didn't mind seeing him out there. Is he the answer? No. I hope Ugarte is the answer. I don't know. Anybody who's been watching this channel for a long time should know that I always wanted Joao Neves. I even believe INEOS wanted Joao Neves. I think everybody wanted Joao Neves, but they pulled out of Joao Neves because of funding or because of money. They didn't want to spend that much, which brings me to my actual point. Who's to blame for this loss? It's INEOS. INEOS is to blame for this loss. Now, if we're all going to sit here and sing their praises, which I have sang their praises. So I'm not sitting here shitting on INEOS. I'm just calling it how it is. INEOS has done a pretty damn good job. They've done a remarkably good job getting rid of a lot of players and bringing in good players. There's not a one signing that they've made that I'm going to sit here and go, that's never going to work, right? So they have done a good job, but they didn't do enough of it. And we all know that, and we all know why. They didn't do enough of it because of money. It's not PSR. If you think it's PSR FFP, you are way off. You are way off. We have enough room in PSR and FFP to have done 2 more signings, which is what I think we needed. We definitely needed a left back. Not that I don't like Diogo Dalot. Diogo Dalot is amazing, but he's not a left back. We need someone who's going to get in there with a left foot and someone, remember how I said we need a son of a bitch winger? The left back I wanted was Alphonso Davies from Bayern Munich, and he was available. He's on his last year. We could have paid for Alphonso Davies. If not Alphonso Davies, we could have got somebody else. Anybody else. Theo Hernandez from AC Milan. We need a son of a bitch left back. If we don't have a son of a bitch winger, that's like, you put Rashford and Alphonso Davies on the left side together? Oh my God, defenses would piss their pants. They would shit their pants looking at those two going, both of these guys can take me on one-on-one. Both of these guys can take me on one-on-one. That's what would have happened. But we didn't do it. We didn't do it, and then we didn't even sign a left back who could have just stepped in and played left back for us. Not that I want just a somebody. I want someone who's actually skillful to come in. I want to build the squad at a high standard, like Lenny Euro. That's a high standard buy. I want to make buys that are at a high standard. All the academy kids we bought, Chibo Obi Martin, Sekou Kone, these are high standard buys. Samuel Losale, high standard buys, great buys, but they're not ready for the first team. So that brings me back to why INEOS are to blame. I said this in 2 videos ago, but not a lot of people watched it because YouTube doesn't really like me that much. I'm nobody. I've only got 590 subscribers. So only 170 people watched my video two videos ago, which I thought was a really good video for me, but YouTube literally only shared it with 1,500 people. So 1,500 people, and obviously you're going to get about a 10% click-through rate. You're not going to get much more than that. So out of 1,500 people, 180 people clicked and watched the video, and in that video I explained step by step the INEOS strategy. So that's why I'm kind of mad that nobody got to see that video. But that's why they're kind of to blame, because they have this project where they need to build a championship challenging team that repeatedly gets into Champions League year after year, but they also need to do it while generating more revenue and making more profit than the Glazers used to make. And that's why they were allowed to partner up with the Glazers, buy a minority share, and give them full control to run the team or the business as they see fit. You don't give someone, a minority shareholder, full control to run the business as they see fit unless there are stipulations like, you're going to make me more money. So they've got to be more profitable or generate more money or have less expenses than the Glazers ever did, but they also have to have the team challenging and getting into Champions League every season, season after season. But I think they've got 2 years to pull this job off, because you can't be more profitable and do this quickly. So this project, I explained, can be done fast, cheap, or good. You can only have 2 out of 3 of those. And I think they're going for cheap and good. They're building the team as cheaply as possible, but good. So not like the dirt cheap. Like, they're still spending money, but they're not spending exorbitant amount of money. That's why they went for Manuel Ugarte instead of Joao Neves. I like Manuel Ugarte as a player. I think he's going to do well for us, but I'm not putting him on that wall. At least I'm not going to put him on that wall. If you guys vote him on, he's on that wall. He's not going to be my pick to be on that wall, because my pick would have been Joao Neves. Joao Neves gives us what Manuel Ugarte gives us, but also gives us forward play, which Manuel Ugarte, we're going to wait and see what happens there, because we need someone who can quarterback this team from back. We need someone who can pass forward from back. We don't just need a destroyer. We do need a destroyer, but our destroyer has to always also be able to pass forward. So if I lose, let's say, one duel a game or half a duel a game compared to Joao Neves, but Joao Neves is going to give me 5 more forward passes a game than Manuel Ugarte, that's the player I'm getting. That's the player I'm spending my money on, and that's the more valuable player because he offers you both. But unfortunately, because he's the more valuable player, he would have cost $15 million more, and they decided not to do that. And then stack on top of that they wanted to ensure they were going to be profitable, so they waited until the sale of Scott McTominay to bring Ugarte in, which delays Ugarte's registration. It's not because of PSR, it's not because of FFP, it's because of cash in, cash out. You understand? Cash flow. What if they didn't sell Scott McTominay? Then they weren't going to buy Manuel Ugarte? Is that what you're telling me? Think about it. If Napoli didn't want Scott McTominay and we had to keep Scott McTominay, are you telling me we would have gone into the season with Casemiro and McTominay and no Manuel Ugarte? And then you were going to believe that it was an FFP issue after we let go of a dozen players. I was about to say half a dozen. A dozen players we've let go of. We've sold more players this summer, or we've also let go of more wages this summer than any other previous summer. And every other previous summer, we spent £300 million on players. £250 million on players. Net, not gross. Net. And this summer, we let go of all those players, and all of a sudden, we're not in FFP or PSR. That is bullshit. Don't believe that. And if you don't believe me, go to Swedish Rumble's Twitter. You can check out Swedish Rumble's Twitter all the way back to when this window started. You can even go back to my old videos and see the math of how we could have spent $280 million net this summer and still been within PSR and FFP. We didn't even come anywhere near that net spend. Anyways, point is this. Are we going to become a good team? Probably yes. Are we going to do it this season? No. No, we're not. And the sacrificial lamb in all of this, the one who's going to get most of the blame in all of this is going to be Erik ten Hag. And this is where I was talking earlier about how I don't know if people realize this, but that manager is being set up not to succeed. Fuck. I don't mean it in the way it sounds. Like, I don't think they're doing it willingly. They're just like, well, we'll build slow, and this team should be good enough to get us top 4. No, you're wrong, Sir Jim. You are wrong, Sir Dave Brailsford. And Dan Ashworth wouldn't know any better because I don't think he's ever been a technical director of a top 4 team. So I can't blame Dan Ashworth, but he's wrong. He probably thought this team is better than my Brighton team ever was. It's good enough to get top. No. Nope. No, there are missing vital pieces to the puzzle. And one of the most vital areas on the pitch is that center and midfield. Somebody needs to teach our star boy, Kobe Mainoo, what kind of decisions to make when he's late. He's late often. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to call him out because I know some of you guys love him. I love him too. But it's true. He's late often. He's not a fast player. He doesn't have speed, which is okay. You don't have to have speed. Neither did Busquets, neither does Rodri. But those guys see the future. Those guys can watch and see things unravel and know 2 seconds earlier than Kobe Mainoo when to start jogging or running in a certain direction. Kobe looked like, especially on that Gravenberch, watch him. He looked like he was standing around and went, oh, shoot, I got to be over there. No, you see, you should have seen that coming 2 seconds ago. You should have seen your teammates starting their press 2 seconds ago and went, oh, I better start running over there in case this happens. That's where we're going to have a lot of... Manuel Ugarte is not going to be able to cover all that ground. So Kobe's got to do his part, is what I'm saying. Now, Kobe didn't cause any other accidents or goals, but I have seen this in the past and no one ever calls it out because it doesn't turn into a goal. So nobody calls it out. But everybody's got to be responsible for their job. And the center of midfield is the most important part. Again, I love Kobe Mainoo. I love this team. I don't even hate Casemiro. I have a Casemiro kit. Like, as soon as we signed Casemiro, I was going crazy because I love Brazilian players. I'm heartbroken. Thank you for joining me. Guys, if you are with me, drop a like. Hit the subscribe if you watch my videos. Sometimes I get like 1,000 views, but only have 580 subscribers or whatever I have. Hit the subscribe button. Let YouTube know to like start sharing my video, because it's on and off. Some of my videos get shared with like 30,000 people impressions, they call it, and some of my videos only get like 800 impressions, so I only get like 80 views or 110 views. If you like what I'm doing, if you like what even though this wasn't really a fun video, do whatever you want, guys. I'm sorry. See you guys later. I'll make another video on Tuesday night, probably post it by Wednesday. See ya.